But before we do, I want to talk about something that happened a couple weeks ago that we didn't really talk about, but it was something that kind of made news. You did I guess you called it a promo with the Blackpool Combat Club, and it was meant to be an online thing. And it did so well that they put it on the TV show. It was just you talking about what the Blackpool Combat Club meant to you.
Mm.
And it was one of the most well received videos I've ever seen put out by AEW. What are your thoughts on recording it and the feedback?
Well, it was incredible when I watched it, and I'm not a big fan of watching my own stuff. We shot that in very short amount of time. We went to a gym in Dallas early morning, which um, Brian Danielson organized. And I apologize greatly because I can't remember the gentleman's name who filmed it. And
Giancarlo.
no, Giancarlo didn't do this.
Okay.
Um, Giancarlo did the actual into the promo that I did, um, and George, the lighting guy. So we went and we filmed in early morning in a like a powerlifting gym, really, or a sort of a CrossFit gym with no mats, and we just wrestled and talked, and for half an hour or so, maybe more. Might have been more, might have been an hour. It went by so quick. And that was filmed, and it was just us doing, there was nothing set up. We just actually trained the way we would normally train and showing Wheeler things that I would normally show people. But, well, no, I wouldn't normally show them that. Actually, these were, um, I've mentioned it in commentary, there's a lot of dirty tricks and a lot of nasty, spiteful things, and we were just going through some of those and different little techniques, and no sportsmanlike conduct to get finish people off very quickly. And we did that, and then at the TV, uh, I believe that night, Giancarlo came up and said, "Would you like to go and do a voiceover for this?" And found a place backstage, and George lit it up, and I sat down, and I thought they were just going to take little sound bites of whatever it was, and I just talked for 3 minutes, and that was it. And then after I finished, it was a one take thing, which they ended up playing in its entirety and never touched it. So that was just me talking for the 3 minutes or whatever it was. So, and then Giancarlo asked for a couple of close-ups, which was me doing that, and a couple of just looking into the camera. It was all done and dusted in about 15 minutes, the entire thing, if that, even it, and that's including setting the lights up and everything. It was just done, and I couldn't believe the results from it. So that's great when you've got incredible, talented production people like that, and Giancarlo and George. And I'm so sorry I can't remember the gentleman who filmed the stuff in the gym, but he works for AEW, and it'll take me a while to get used to his name. I've known the other two, John and George, for a long time, so it I, and it suited us down to the ground. I couldn't believe that it went so quickly. It was just because the whole thing with us is that it works so well. There's no playing about. There's no pretending to be anything. That's what we really are like, and that's why it just works. And we've all got us the same kind of mindset, and that was it. And so if you enjoyed it, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Makes me look all kinds of butch, doesn't it? Oh dear.
And you
All kinds
confirmed
of, oh dear, savage.
you confirmed
Absolutely.
something that someone told me, that you did that in one take. You just talked. So
Yes.
I got to ask, as part of the creative process, I mean, that is a creative
And there's
endeavor.
nobody gave us any. I just
Where does it come from?
about 15 minutes before that, they said, "Oh, we'd like to film this thing." I never put the second thought into it until we sat down, and I think once they set the lights up, I believe, and I could be wrong here, but I believe Giancarlo just showed me. He just took a picture and showed it me, and I happened to notice the scar on my lip. You can see it there, but there's a scar on my lip. I can't see it when I'm looking into this now, and I forget which side is. Well, no, it's here. This is where it is because it's my face. There's a story to this. Do you want a story? We might as well go through some stories, right?
Absolutely.
So, is that the right place where the scar is? Yeah,
I believe so.
yeah. So, this would have been right before I went back onto Raw. I'd been on SmackDown in the mid 2000s, and I was going back on Raw to slowly work into being what became the King of the Ring thing. But that wasn't in the books at all. It was just I was getting moved back to from SmackDown to Raw, and it was to have a big talking part. I was going to be working with Mr. McMahon, which was we always had great chemistry, and I wasn't really sure where it was going. But Brian Gewirtz, who was a great supporter and put me in some incredible opportunities and situations to make some memories and a lot of great body of work. He wanted me back on Raw. Well, 2 weeks before that, we're doing a double shot up in the Northeast, and I forget the name of the towns, but I was in a tag match with Dave Taylor, and it was against Scotty 2 Hotty and the Boogeyman. And the Boogeyman, I think the world of Marty, lovely fella. He threw what I considered in the first match a bit of a not so good punch, and I said, "Just scream, hit me again." So he hit me, and it caught me, but it wasn't that bad. Well, we were doing a double shot that day, afternoon shot, night shot. So the nighttime, I said, "Look, Marty, you got to. I'd rather take a punch in the mouth than have to, put over some hokey looking thing. It's just not it's not the way I wrestle. It's not the way I was brought up to wrestle. I'm all about protecting the strength of the job. That's an old British term, keeping the strength of the job." I said, "Just hit me." I said, "I'll take it. It's on me." So we get in there, and finally we end up together, and he goes bosh, and I end up with, I think it was 6 stitches or 8 stitches on the outside and 16 stitches on the inside. He was mad about it. I wasn't. I was just laughing about it because it was just, I told him to hit me. It was just one of those things. But from then onwards, still to this day, and you'll hear it occasionally on this podcast, I'm completely numb from here down. I have no feeling in this side of my face at all. It did some nerve damage. Now, and if you watch this, you'll notice this sticks on my teeth now and then. I never used to tell anybody this, but now,
Right.
Different day and age. And do you think I was going to call Brian Gewirtz and say, or Mr. McMahon and say, "Sorry, boss. Sorry, Brian. I can't come on to Raw in 2 weeks because I can't talk as well as I can possibly, or as I could." Because I couldn't.
I don't see you doing that.
No. So I went on there. I got moved to Raw and started a different phase of my life, which was I started to grow my hair. There was a lot of things were changing at that time. I'd filmed the stuff in the gym, but that's how that all came about. So let's get on with the rest of the show.
It is fantastic, and of course, Giancarlo Didmo is an amazing creative person, and he really he's really going to make a mark on this wrestling industry doing.
He already has.
Oh, for sure.
He already has.
He's
fantastic. He should. These fellas should get all the credit that he deserve, and unfortunately, in wrestling, they don't seem to. There's so many of it. I mean, I've worked with so many in the last 30 years or 29 years I've been in America, and they're incredible people. They just and nowadays that they could do it on the phones and do it. I mean, that's what they
Crazy.
do it on.
Yeah.
It's just like or a small camera, and they do it, and it's together like a day later, and looks like something that would have took weeks and weeks to do years ago. The quality, I mean, it's movie quality stuff. It's fantastic.
For sure, for sure. And years ago,